Ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, non-binary pals, welcome back to the channel. So really quick, weird question, what exactly do you do when you have 6 lovely spare tinders? Actually, I don't know, I had 3, but either way, today I thought it'd be fun to walk you guys through how I turned these guys into a little interconnected scrap consist, ready to embarrass Henry at any given moment. And kinda like I mentioned before, instead of having 3 different tinders, they're all a single unit as well. Partially because 2 of these are from tinder engines, so they don't really accommodate a front hook, but also because it keeps them all together and means they'll all have to be in use if an engine ever pulls them. It also kind of reminds me of those 00 or 009 scale maintenance of way units that are all interconnected. It's just kind of that same idea, I guess. And now we move on to disassembly. As you can see here, we have 2 that have pretty obvious battery components and areas, and one that's a bit more open from a James model. Now, because of these old battery port areas, I'll likely add the coal load back to Edward and Gordon. But James doesn't really have this issue. He does have a small hole at the bottom, but a piece of card can cover that no problem. And as you can see here, I put that old spam mail finally to some use. And now James has a filled in, or really the opposite, completely empty tinder. That's not where it ends with this one though. Now we take some rubbing alcohol and cotton balls and basically just remove the decals from either side. We're rubbing them off now as best we can. And now the tinders are almost ready for painting, but just for safety and to save parts, I do now also remove the old battery connections. I'll also soon come back and separate the wheels from the chassis blocks to reattach those to the body. You see, having these together or as one unit will definitely aid with painting, but I also don't want to paint the wheels unnecessarily, so at least for now we set them up like this and move on to painting. Of course, we take them outside and set them up on old paint cans to basically work as stands. Now, just like any painting project, before anything comes primer. And for this project, we use an ultrafine gray made by Tamiya and slowly work our way over each tinder. Now, once that's pretty even, we'll give it some time to dry and come back with some black paint. Now, this part should take a little longer, since you really want to make sure that black paint makes its way into every nook, crevice, anywhere that will take it, basically. Just cover the entire tinder, but with that being said, make sure you don't overspray, or create any puddles or pools, or anything like an uneven surface. And now with the black dry, we completely, we discolor it, just ruin the entire thing. this time with some brown paint in appropriate or random spots, just wherever it feels right. I chose to do this in bursts to replicate a spotty or rust pattern. And this is what we're looking at now. 3 not so good looking tinders anymore, but perfect for what we're doing. Now, earlier you may have noticed that Gordon's coal load was a bit roughed up. It just didn't look that great. It sadly had some glue stains, and altogether just didn't look right. Like, why did it need a screw port if it doesn't have a battery in it? Well, to replace this, I actually used the James coal load from the now empty tinder. A very small paper clip is attached to the back, and the front tab was completely removed, and boom, now it fits like a glove. And now we get to permanently put these things together, thank God. And from that, move on to final detailing. Now, technically, I won't do the final details today. You know, I'd still like to add the NE on the side, and this is technically something you can freehand if you want. I can't lie though, I'm not the most steady hand, and to keep it in style, we'll likely use water slide decals, but sadly those are still in the mail, as usual. Hey, at least it's something to look forward to though. Be on the lookout for an update on these lads and how we'll really finish them. But with all of that being said, I think it's time we take a closer look. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have our scrap tinders. Now, like I said before, they're not completely done. I do still want to add those NE decals, and as you can see here, only one coal load currently is glued in. We've got to get this other one situated real quick. There we go. Look at that. I'm not gonna lie, that looks pretty sick. And here's a closer look at that open tinder we have at the front. Now, there's a little bit of stress there on that card. I'm sure you can see a little towards the right, and we're going to fix that really quick. All right, now typically what I do in a situation like this is just add a little bit of coal, you know, a little bit of glue right there, and pile it up as if it's just left over as excess. And that is totally something you could do. I just happen to be out of coal at the moment and keep forgetting to go get some more. I think instead what I'll do is use just a little bit of clump foliage, since I'm working on the layout and have excess of that right now, and just kind of line that area a little bit, make it look like maybe it's been overgrown, sat in a siding, and a couple plants have gotten stuck inside it. All right, let's do that really quick. Oh, real quick. You hear that digging? You hear that bell? Really quick. Well, that would be all right there. That would be all Miss Rosie. Just having a blast, as you can see. And boom, just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we've introduced just a little bit of something into that empty tinder, gave it a little bit of life, and kind of covered up that stress area with just a little bit of clump foliage. And that pretty much, at least for now, until we get the decals, completes the scrap tinders. Now, you've probably noticed they do have new wheels here at the bottom. Those are all Trackmaster wheels that are pretty much matching, you know, a similar color, and I did that just so it'd look better. And you may be a little worried about how these things perform, since they're using these short back-end couplings. Well, surprisingly, a lot better than I thought they would. But I think instead of me telling you that, let me just go show you. Let's go get Henry ready and take these things to... Oops, and take these things over to the layout.
Either subscribe, donate, or get the fuck out.